In today's video, I want to go over how to keep from going insane in medical training and just medicine in general, because I've often gotten to the brink. So I'll give you 3 tips, 3 ways to kind of help prevent this in your journey through medicine. We'll get into it in this video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Zach with Dr. Eyeball MD. If you are new, I'm a 3rd-year ophthalmology resident and about to start an oculoplastics fellowship here in a couple months. So we will be getting into that, and I'll take you guys on the journey as I try to learn to become a plastic surgeon of the eyelid, orbit, all that good stuff. Other good new news for the channel: I have a podcast now. This is what it looks like. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. It's called On Call with Dr. Keenum, and we basically explore some of the deeper, darker sides of medicine and some of the more like psychologically challenging things that go into becoming a doctor that get glazed over in the rest of kind of the way medicine is portrayed on social media. Go ahead, check out the podcast, and my wife, who is also a doctor, is gonna be joining me as a co-host. I finally convinced her to do that, so we'll be having some interesting conversations, so check out the podcast. But in today's video, what I wanna go over is how to keep from basically losing your sanity and just getting totally burned out in medicine, how to keep from going insane in medical training. So I've broken it down into 3 basic steps, 3 things that you can implement to try to help keep your sanity and help you not lose your own identity through medicine. So the first tip, the first thing I think you can do is to adopt a mindset of you're no longer going to try to be people-pleasing. And this is something that I think we fall into a trap of doing in medical training when first we're trying to get into medicine out of college, and then once we're in medicine, when we're trying to get into residency from medical school, and then even in residency when we're trying to get into fellowship, and then in fellowship when we're trying to get a job. It never ends. So at some point you kind of just have to put your foot down and decide that you're gonna quit doing what you're doing for the sake of other people and to try to please other people and be something for somebody else. So when I say quit people pleasing, what are some of the actionable things you can do to actually do that and to keep your own sanity by living for what makes you happy and not trying to make someone else happy? The first way that you can do that is to quit agreeing to projects, to research projects, to tasks, taking on things that are completely unmeaningful to you because you think that they're meaningful to someone else, or you think it's gonna give you some CV points to help you to that next step. So if it doesn't seem exciting, if it doesn't seem fun to you, if it doesn't seem like something that at least interests you, be cautious about agreeing to too much stuff in your medical training and in your journey of trying to get into medicine and through medicine. So when people ask you to be on research projects, or they ask you to take on this role or to do this thing for them, ask yourself, is this something I actually want to do or actually care about? And if it's not, definitely step back and reevaluate if this is something you want to give up your time for. The second actionable step in the not people-pleasing category is to be a trainee while you're a trainee and not pretend to be an expert. And this will help you keep your sanity, because if you are trying to portray yourself as someone that knows more than they know to try to impress people and so that you can kind of boost yourself to that next step, you're going to go insane and you're not going to learn as much also. So adopt the mentality of being a trainee, ask questions, and just realize that you're there to learn, whether or not you're in college, whether you're in med school, residency, or fellowship. Don't try to be the expert while you're still the trainee. This will not only help you learn more, but it will keep you from going insane by trying to kind of make yourself look like something that you're not. So the third actionable step that you can take in the stop people-pleasing category is to start forging your own path in medicine and stop just thinking that this is such a well-defined life path of steps that you go through, because it basically is. Realize that it doesn't have to be, and you will start to become happier when you begin to kind of create your own path through medicine. And so one of the reasons that I started kind of getting down on myself in the 1st and 2nd year of residency was that I kind of started to see it as such a defined life plan of, well, I do college, then I do med school, then I do residency, then maybe I do fellowship, and then I get the job and I live for 30 years doing the job. And it was just like, I didn't like my life being so planned out. It was like very depressing to not think that there was any spontaneity, any serendipity left in the next like 40 years because it was so well defined in medicine. And so I started trying to define my own path, my own life path through medicine. And so I found fellowships that most people don't know even exist. I tried to get into like these innovation fellowships because it offered more in terms of kind of uncertainty and, you know, potential of just being interesting and kind of making my life more exciting. And you know, I've found some different avenues in medicine that I think are gonna make it more interesting rather than just following a defined life plan through medicine because of how structured it is. And I think where that will be going forward is opening my own practice and kind of structuring it in a different way that I don't think is very common, but I will talk to you guys about that in a different video. That's for a different video. So just try to kind of make it your own. If you've made it into medicine and if you've made it through medicine, then I have no doubt that you are intelligent enough to define your life plan through medicine and kind of the way you want your life to look. It doesn't have to be structured by what somebody else says it has to be structured. So kind of take the initiative and make it what you want, and that will help you not go insane in medicine and not get burned out on it. All right, in the second category, I'm calling care about less. And what I mean by this, I know this sounds kind of contradictory, but if you've read this book, it basically kind of talks about this. The takeaway here is that you can't care about everything, but you can care about a few things, and you can care about them sincerely and wholly, and not just kind of this perceived facade of caring about every social, every ethical issue. You can care about a few things really hard and actually make differences in those areas, but when you try to care about every single thing, you really don't affect any change. Go ahead and define to yourself what it is that you actually care about, and in relation to medicine, you know, is that research? Is that doing your own thing? Is that having a personal life and having time with your kids? Whatever it is in medicine that you truly care about, and focus on a few of those things and go after those things. Don't pretend to care about everything, and this will help keep you from going insane. An actionable way that you can implement this, not caring about everything and caring about less, is to be cautious of other people projecting what they care about onto you. This is an easy trap to fall into when people who are higher in medical training, whether it be an attending or a resident if you're a medical student, or a fellow if you're a resident, whatever, they will start to project things they care about, whether it be their research or what they think you need. They'll project it onto you, and that can often be helpful. It can be for your benefit, but just be cautious and make sure that it is truly for your benefit and that you are caring about what you care about and not what somebody else is making you care about. Trust me, this is one that I kind of flipped the switch on between first and second year residency, and it made a huge difference when I started doing what I cared about. It not only made me more productive and happier, it, I think, helped me kind of show to programs when I was applying for a fellowship that I have other things to offer besides the traditional things that a lot of applicants did have to offer. So care about what you care about. The third category of how to not go insane in medicine is to pay yourself first. Now, in the financial realm and investing, there is this kind of idea of paying yourself first. And what that means is when you get a paycheck, before you pay your bills, your expenses, you sort of carve out a set amount that you're gonna put away, whether it's in savings or investing or whatever, for yourself first. And this ensures that you're going to be financially successful down the line. In the same way that taxes come out of your paycheck, you basically pay yourself first in the same way, and it kind of guarantees financial security down the line. And so you kind of adopt that same mentality when you are trying to keep from going insane in medicine. What I mean by this is to pay yourself first by making sure you're eating, making sure you're exercising, making sure that your own health is a priority, and then you can be better at your job. Medicine will very quickly take away doctors' health, their time, and their happiness if you're not careful. So make sure that you are prioritizing those things for yourself and not just giving the entirety of yourself to medicine, because it is a lot easier to give of yourself to medicine when you prioritize those other personal things first. Another actionable step in this category is to do something for yourself, and that is just for yourself. Don't think that your whole being has to be given to medicine. Don't think that your whole life and your time all has to be given to medicine. You need to make sure that you are still an individual and not just a surgeon whose whole identity is wrapped up in whatever it is they're doing medically. Your whole identity does not need to be wrapped up in that. You need to be your own person that does this thing. And that's important because if you don't, you will basically just lose your own identity in having it wrapped up in whatever your job is. So even at the high levels of being doctors, surgeons, whatever, you have to be careful and make sure that it's not your entire life. So do something for yourself that's selfish and for yourself. This is actually important. You need to give that to yourself to be happy and to not lose your sanity to medicine. All right, guys, those are my 3 kind of categories and tips for helping you keep your sanity in medicine. I kind of was falling into some traps through med school and through early residency, and finally I just kind of like flipped the switch and I was like, nope, no more. I'm gonna just do what's important to me, what I care about, and it's made me more efficient, better doctor, more productive, and happier. So for whatever that's worth, give it a shot. See if it works for you. I hope that video was helpful. If it was, leave me a like, subscribe to the channel, check out the podcast, and I'll see you guys in the next one.